Hi everyone, today is it's Friday, the 12th of September 2025. I hope you've enjoyed the last two video clips on my channel in regards to the court case on the 8th of September 2025. So this next video clip, I'm going to go over the evidence that I submitted to court, okay? It is a legal case. I'm up against the Crown, okay, and I will go over my own evidence that I submitted because I have found historically they are just cheating, okay? They're cheating and they're also stealing at the same time. It is a serious critical set of circumstance for me because they've actually ruined all my relationships historically. So just because, you know, we've got, it looks like I've got nobody that cares, but the division is caused going back to 2010.
Hi everyone, welcome to Authentic Ingenuity Entrepreneur. My name is Mina Crichton. So today I'm just going to focus on the evidence that was submitted in court on the 8th of September, which was this Monday this week, 2025. So today's date is the 12th of September 2025. So I will be just going over the documentations, okay? And just what you will be witnessing is a conspiracy to commit murder by our government, by those, well, not just my government, but you know, it's been a global game historically what they've used me for. So all the laws broken upon a single individual, holding them against their will and using them for money laundering and other serious fraud offences. So what I will be doing is just running you guys through the actual evidence and documentations, and those, I know that the government are those in the criminal and those in the like criminal barristers, criminal lawyers, and criminal judges will see what I'm showing, but the evidence is just on the documentation. Okay, so the just before I get onto the evidence, just get everyone into the mindset where I'm coming from. I've been secretly animated or in anime, okay? So it's quite clear why the judges are making unlawful strikes and then not actually signing it, because I wouldn't sign it either if I knew the person was actually innocent. So basically what I'm going to be going over is my evidence, okay? It is definitely a conspiracy to commit murder, especially when the system is corrupt. I know I'm a victim, and all they're using is the laws and the actual case reference as evidence, okay? But anyway, I will go over my evidence in the court. So basically this system that I've been subject to after them using me for years, gluing me to different people all the time, and they're still doing that when I go out public, when I'm by myself, or when I actually go on the bus, or when I go public. Even when I was driving my car, they're using their car. But this is what they're doing, okay? They're doing, different people are copying and or animating, but there is a perpetrator or somebody who is ordering it. So they're doing it on behalf of other people. It's like a gangs kind of a system, but these people are already glued to you. They're just using different people all the time, and the misuse of devices to enable them to do what they're doing to an innocent civilian, okay? So what I'm going to go through is actually, I've decided I will go through my actual legal documents that were submitted to court. So this is a continuous from the last two videos to do with the hearing on September the 8th. So this one is part 2, but get you guys in the mindset. This is what it's like for me, okay? This is the real me, and then there's, you know, somebody's animated me. So basically to them, I'm supposed to be dead, Okay, in fact, the way they're declining everything, using me and stealing all my good fruits and giving it to someone, to them they're just waiting for me to die. So that is a conspiracy to commit murder. Okay, so unfortunately the government is guilty because they've been inciting about me. When I realized what they were doing and I started denouncing it, they've stopped. Okay, somehow it's working because they've stopped, but when I discovered that they were doing that, I was like, I can't believe this is happening. I'd realized too over the years that they were actually coding me, and that's why I'm able to pick out videos or anything when I know they're referring to me. Okay, so that's all criminal tactics. That's all penalties against whoever is doing it. It's called breaches. Okay, it's called breaches. Even if it's just for a game, it's a breach. It's a privacy breach. Okay, so basically I'm going to show you my evidence that was shown in court, and also to prove to everyone that I am not mentally unwell. Okay, I am definitely an honest person. Okay, and they've just used me like a competition. Okay, so the case to my allies, I'm dead. So they've treated me dead, and that's why the judges are doing unlawful strikes, because they're all working together. They've locked me out, blocked me out, but I can also prove that this took place to 2010. Okay, so if I'm dead, that means it's a conspiracy to commit murder to them. But I'm not dead, all right? So I'm going to go over the evidence that was actually spoken in court, continuing from the other two, okay? Okay, spiritually speaking, we're talking about an evil spirit, okay? We're talking about good faith or bad faith. So, I mean, I'll also show you some of the laws that are applicable to my case, and you will also witness why I'm saying it's a conspiracy to commit murder. Okay, I'm talking historically. Don't forget, they poisoned me at work in 2010. Then I had a car accident where I had a neck injury, and I'm still suffering from that neck injury. In fact, I will be disabled from that neck injury for the rest of my life, because it was a spinal cord. So that's gonna, that's definitely maimed me. So this is all going back to 2010, and that's not even including all the mental injury from in between for the psychological and the mental abuse from the workplace bullying and the continuous public scrutiny and psychological and mental abuse indirectly by secret societies conspiring to kill somebody, either by a heart attack or by natural causes, by force, from stress, like putting stress on them, or to drive them to commit suicide, or waiting for someone to murder me on their behalf. So what we're dealing with is bad faith, obviously, and a sadistic evil spirit. And this is my personal experience. It's organized crime, and it is micromanaging. It's just me matter of proving it, okay? They've also dug up my past, so we're talking about, and then they've used me for relationship scams, with other women, comparing them to me, and, they've defamed me because as part of the game and to put other people off. These younger women is meant to be an upgrade to attract the men that they're trying to attract, or just for, visual appearances for the camera. So that is where the relationship comes from, and they call it fresh air or whatever, but it's actually just also a game to use substitutes as a foot in the door. Okay, there's nothing new about the game. It's just that the technologies and the system has allowed it to now take over society. Okay, so no one is safe. We're talking about people being controlled and is being They're carrying out other people's motive and intent. So it's acts of terrorism, okay, from my point of view as a victim, when people walk around acting like zombies, talking indirectly, because they're carrying out somebody else's motive and intent. Don't ignore it, because half of the time their motive and intent is within their speech, okay? When somebody, like, honest to God, I have witnessed that myself, and I've just like, oh my gosh, it's serious. But that no one should be that intimate into your business. But I know what I've gone through. They've glued themselves to me, enabling them to steal my energy, my good fruits, and anything to do with me. So we're dealing with a sadistic, evil spirit, which is a bad thing. So if everything goes negative, and the whole idea, they want you to think you are cursed. I can reassure you I'm not cursed, okay? I've always known the difference from when my privacy is gone and when it is. So I do know when something is not natural or when something is, okay? So I'm definitely a blacklisted individual historically, because there's money involved, okay? But I will go over the laws and I will prove to you all globally, get some good tips out of this. But those unlawful strikes, those judgments the judges are making against an individual, they're permanent. That's why I'm challenging it. That's why I'm not giving up, because it's defamation. And I will show you the laws to prove it is a conspiracy, because over time, that's what it is. They're ruining somebody's life with the things that are writing. That's not even true. So I will go over, you will see my evidence compared to theirs, and you will witness that I'm not actually mentally impaired, but they've actually used the mental health on me historically as part of a cover-up, and also money involving myself, because I know I'm money. I know my ideas is money. I know I'm worth a lot of money, and I'm not boasting about it. I don't even care about money, but I do care about being abused and people stealing from me without my consent, okay? I stand against that, and God willing, I would prefer my whole case to go to the criminal, sort everything out all at once. But I will go over the laws that I used for the case on Monday. So there was a lot of good tips. Unfortunately, from what I've experienced, the system is set out that whoever ends up going through what I'm going through, it can backfire on anybody, I'm telling you. Okay, the whole idea is to eliminate you until you are dead. The whole idea of this game and this system, that if you're trapped in it, is that they don't want you to get up. Okay, they don't want you to retain your confidence, retain your finances. They want to keep you poor. Okay, so keep in mind, I am not where I am financially because of my wrong decisions or because nobody wants me. It's because I'm being sabotaged and glued to people who are breaking the law and have made it their business to destroy somebody's reputation and stop them from advancing. But it is called serious violent offences. Okay. The first law I wanted to kind of focus on today, what I think is really appropriate, is just so you all can understand why the legislation even came about. Okay, so this here came from the Companies Act 1993. So where Company Act is reference to people's corporate bodies. It's body corporate. So that is to do with any businesses that is operating. Okay, this new system, the system is set out where body corporates and agencies all work together and they have shares together, and so the shareholders together, stuff like that. So that's okay. But when it comes to legal matters, they are treated separately, just like any individual. If a group of individuals decided to conspire against somebody, if they got caught by the law, they would be charged as an individual and go to prison as an individual for their part. It is exactly the same thing with body corporates, government agencies. That just because New Zealand Police and IPCA were both joined together on my statement claim, keeping in mind I'm the plaintiff, not the defendant. Okay, so the defendant is the person that the plaintiff is allegedly saying they've committed an offence. Okay, and that is why I'm doing what I'm doing, because I am saying all the body corporates involving my personal property that I was a client to, or whether I was working with them or whatever it was, they are the offenders. They are the defendants. Okay, so in this case, the Crown, and usually, the Crown in my days, they used to defend the victims, not the defendants. But in this case, however, the victims always comes first over the defendants. Okay, but anyway, if you notice here, it says separate legal personality. Okay, so the body corporates are actually audited for integrity. We're talking about good faith, bad faith. So this is where this comes out spiritually. So just because, a body corporate is operating like a body corporate, they will be audited whether what they do in the occupation, whether it was good faith or bad faith. So we see that's why there's a reason why it says separate legal personality. Okay, so all the employees come under, they're a legal personality. They'll be judged for their personality, whether it's good faith or bad faith. And that's why we have laws that they're actually supposed to be abide to. So, for example, if you're a deputy court registrar, there is a legislation there that you have to abide to, because when it comes to criminal cases, that's whatever it says, that's how much you're going to go to prison. If they can catch you out for contempt of court or any serious fraud office, anything, you could go to prison for that. And that's the same as the judge, is 14 years. And that's the same for even the members for other offences. So they're talking here about personality, okay? So basically it means that if everybody is operating under the law and according to the law, as an individual, just because you work for a corporate body, you still have to uphold the law and operate in integrity, meaning you can't just go and do whatever you want when you feel you can, because that's when corruption comes in. As far as my case is concerned, this case that was going on against IPCA as a single individual, but unfortunately my case is already premeditated. It's a coalition we're dealing with. They've already made a decision about an individual, and they've decided to eliminate me over the substitute. And this is where the public voting, the coding comes in. The cowardice thing about it, because I've been a victim to it for so long, is that most of the people don't even know that they're a victim to it. It took me a long time to even realize what everyone was doing. I mean, 2010, I know I've said this in one of my video clips, all hell broke loose, and I'm not joking, all hell broke loose, but I couldn't make sense of it. But because I'm going through exactly what I went through back then to now, okay, it's just different circumstances, but exactly the same pattern, exactly the same evil spirit, okay, because that's what I'm up against. Okay, so what we're dealing with, good faith or bad faith. So and an individual is an individual, and the body corporate is a body corporate. So, but unfortunately in my situation, nothing is natural. So natural law is gone, everything is contaminated, and yes, my opponent wants me dead. So it is a conspiracy to commit murder. And because I have pleaded, done everything according to the law, that makes everybody accountable, whether I live or die. Okay, so I'm going to go over the synopsis. I won't read everything, but I'll just go over it, okay? So what was going to happen, there was a few issues going back from the last video. I won't try not to repeat it because I want to focus on a different topic today. I want to focus on my synopsis hearing. Okay, so I can actually say that doesn't matter which home I'm at when I've done my court case, I have a reason to believe people were monitoring me under the camera like surveillance. If you watched that movie that I recommended, that's what they've done to me while I was working. So I'm under surveillance, and then I've got somebody copying or following me from work to going to home. The neighbours were involved. They were doing proxy hacking. So that's actually acts of terrorism. Okay, but that can be clearly revealed now because of the loss, the great loss, and the things that I've suffered during the process, and but it is acts of terrorism. Okay, and especially if it's global and somebody's been used like an app or a product, and exactly like what I explained in the beginning. So I didn't know what was going to happen because the court takers, the courts were not cooperating. They were lying to me or giving me, different people handling, just making things so difficult for me. I recall ringing the cops so many times because that's a breach. And from my point of view as the vulnerable adult, they are actually perverting the course of justice. Excuse me, I'm burping. They're actually perverting the course of justice, okay? So what we've got here, at first the judge allowed 5 days for the hearing, but the judge actually charged $2,000 or something for me to pay. I had at that time was going through some stuff, and I was going to get the money for it because I wanted to pay for it myself. But however, like I said, all my plans are sabotaged. Okay, everything is sabotaged. And so they can steal. So this is my situation. So everything got sabotaged. I thought, okay, then that didn't work out. So I'll use a waiver fee because a waiver fee is there for people who have, hardship, and I needed. So I was going to do that, but they declined everything. Okay, historically, they've not only taken over my competent work documents. Okay, so they're stealing my documents, but then they decline everything. All right. So I didn't know what to do, but I knew it was still my case. I followed everything according to the laws. All right. Because just because a crown is a crown doesn't mean that they get favors and can do whatever they want. Okay. And a criminal judge will know what I'm talking about because they'll be the same as they think like me. So what actually happened on that day, I didn't know what to expect, but I was going to ask the judge that I actually sent in an email to the registrar. The registrar has behaved bias and prejudice. They're all working together, all of them, against me. Okay? It's my application. I'm the plaintiff. So I actually asked I needed a couple of days. And everyone's involved. It's to them, it's funny, it's a massive joke to them, but they're all going along with it willingly. Okay, they know it's wrong, but they're all going to go with it. So I asked for 2 to 3 days, and when I went into court, I was told that it was going to be an application to strike out my application. Okay, I wasn't happy about that, but I kind of expected. I was expecting anything, and I will go over my reasons why, because I thought I'll just prepare for the day. Okay, so what I did was, it's because I didn't realize this actually. Only maybe in the last few years I'd realized that they were actually the coalition, meaning the government. Okay, they were taking my documents and everything about me and making decisions about my life, about my liberty, and then deciding who's going to win, and then inciting and coding me like some kind of object, and that's how everyone has treated me. Okay, so I just went through this when it was my turn. This is the opening I went through. So I just went through what Karen Ferris did. I won't read it all, but you can read it for yourself, and as you can see. And so I basically wanted to make it clear to the courts that I had actually followed process where the Crown didn't. The barristers didn't, okay? Karen Ferris just abandoned her case, all right? And I didn't have anything to do with her or heard from her 10th of July. If you watch the other video clips, I'm also having problems where people are actually retyping the emails, okay, changing the dates. I've got a very good memory, but I know the last time she responded to me about my document was on the 10th of July, and somebody put something else. So they're actually breaking the law in the moment, in my space, okay. As soon as they know they're going to get caught or I picked it up, then they go and change it, okay. This from here between me and to the courts and to the judge. But I found out that by the time when every court case I've gone to, or even when I was doing Court of Appeal and everything else, when I read the judgments, I could tell the judge didn't even get anything. I can just tell by reading the judgments. But somebody in the middle is stealing it, okay? So this day here, if you can see, you guys can read it yourself. I know everyone can read it. As you can see, I'm pretty efficient. I usually read my applications, especially my big interlocutory applications. They take months and months and months of work. But I'm very efficient. Very rarely, I've had a judge compliment my work, okay? Because like even spelling mistake, I usually proofread my work 5 times. I have a routine where I would proofread my work 5 times. Sometimes my documents are like 20 pages long. Maybe you'd get the odd 1 or 2 typing error. So I'm very efficient, okay? But I've had people retype my work, okay? And I've gone back to some of my documents, that doesn't even look like my work. I know it's not my work. So this here, I kind of went through my synopsis in court. This is actually my opening synopsis. These are the laws I told the judge, and I just went through all the penalties that the Crown, Karen Ferris, broke. And, she didn't even withdraw as far as the court's record was concerned. She was still the court. She was still on record as the lawyer, so she hadn't actually withdrawn properly. And also, you're supposed to have leave from the court as in the judge, okay? Court as in when a judge is handling a case like mine, it's the judge that has to give the direction, not the deputy registrar, okay? So I don't know if the judge got any of my memos because there was no response. But the law clearly says that they actually have to ask leave to leave the case before this new lawyer could come on board. So I put in a memo like I said I did, and I gave that even to the judge in court, and no response. Okay, so what's happening here? They're taking my intellectual property, and I don't know where it's going, but I know they're stealing it or something. They're benefiting from it, and then the people out in public that hate me are defaming my reputation. And honestly, some of the things they've done is cruel. It's crimes against humanity. It's disgusting what they're doing. Absolutely disgusting. Okay, and that's why sometimes you hear me get angry or get frustrated, rightly so too. Okay, so I just went through all the laws to the judge. Okay, this day I was nervous as anything, but I needed to cover, to prove to the court that the Crown was doing their own thing, okay? As far as I know, when I was doing courts, and they're competent judges, they do not care if you have a law degree or if you have so much money, but they were just taking advantage of someone. They were actually sabotaging me. Is called. It's sabotage. They're actually sabotaging me in order to help the other women. Okay, this is what happened with Unison Dance Crew. Okay, the mother at the time, that the other manager, they asked me to do them a favor. Out of the kindness of my heart, I said yes. And only because at that point in time, my kids asked me to help them. And so I said yes. Then they all turned on me, pinned me down, tried to kill me at work, and steal what Unison Dance Crew was worth at that point in time, going back to 2010. Okay, so what I'm going through is exactly the same thing. My cases are worth $10 million each. Okay, so I already know what their intention is. And then in saying that, they're trying to convince the public I'm mentally retarded or too old or whatever they want to call it. But I want to make sure that they get charged criminal charges and make sure that they do new bylaws that this does not happen again to anyone. So basically I was just walking the judge through each council and what they did, what was their steps. Okay, so we're going to go through. The courts never, even though I put in a memo, the court sabotaged my case. So yes, I can have the courts done for sabotage. And, they all think it's funny. Okay, it's no mercy what they've done, and I don't think it's funny. Okay, so I put in a memorandum, and I put in a memorandum because the new council came in and he put in a submission on the 10th of July. So I went through all this with the judge because the judge is brand new, and I could just tell from she hadn't read everything. Okay, I'd asked months earlier, who is the judge? Because I had put in memorandums that I wanted the judge to listen to the transcript. I tried to get the transcript for a new judge because we can. It's common sense, really. But part of it was to save me going through everything is for the judge to actually listen to the transcript. The judge didn't get any of my memos. I could tell. I could just tell, okay? This judge came on board. I only knew about her about a few days before the hearing, okay? Or maybe a week before. So that's what I'm saying. They're making things difficult. So when I put in that memo, the courts never responded. When I say the courts, the judge didn't respond. Memos like that, it has to go through the judge, not the registrar. It's not the court deputy registrar. It's job to respond to say yes or no when a judge is handling a case. Okay, that's another tip, everyone. So what actually happened, from my point of view, I explained all this to the judge in there, and I said to her, I didn't even know, I'm the plaintiff. I didn't even know whether I should respond to his statement of defense, because he responded with a statement of defense on July the 10th. And the court, I hadn't heard from the courts, and I thought to myself, well, I may as well just respond to it, and do my enter a summary judgment case on that statement of defense, because he met the deadline. Okay, so this is the new barrister that came in, so I did the statement of defense. I worked with the statement of defense dated 10th of July. They also put an application to strike out. Okay, so you can read it. I'll try and take my time with this so you can all read it. Okay, and you can all see that I'm not mentally impaired or retarded. I'm just being used against my will, and it is definitely a conspiracy to commit murder case. Okay, so I just went through all this. Another thing was that the council used the application he submitted on the 25th of August that I didn't even respond to, and I recall saying in the last clip that I actually stood up in between that and objected to it. And I said to the judge that it's not fair. Is it even relevant for him to read that, because I hadn't even responded to it? Okay. The judge says, you read it? I says, yeah, but I didn't respond. I responded to the first one, which was 10th of July, my summary, entered to summary judgment, but the focus was on the second application, which was the one that he used, okay? So my interlocutory application was done. I mean, I'm working day and night. I've had to move. I've put loads and loads of police reports about how I'm being treated and being sabotaged, people declining, people just making my life a living hell when I go out public, and I just know when things are natural and when it isn't. So what happened was the judge let him finish on that. And the other thing was the first the council's, who was his name? Sean McCuska's first statement of defense was on the 10th of July 2010, and he admitted, okay? So this here allowed me to apply in my summary judgment to enter on admits liability of contribution. Okay, this is a high court rule, meaning I'd ask the judge to make a judgment of liability under the admits of liability of contribution. He's admitted some of the facts, so that was sufficient enough. It was just me to prove my case in that, okay, which I know I did. Words can't explain what, I don't even know what you call what they're doing to me. It's just inhumane. That they totally ignore somebody's situation and let them die. And that's the reality, okay? And that's disgusting. So I'm going to go over the rules, okay? So these are all the laws councils did, but then keeping in mind, I've been denouncing them, their video clips, okay? I know that it's stopping, because, when I realized they were doing that, I thought, that is not fair. That explains why everything's so difficult, because they're inciting, and then all their people are in my space, sabotaging, helping each other. Okay? So it's acts of tourism, and it's global, and it's relationship scam, and it's linked to my private life. And it's linked to Natalie Visciso, and it's linked to all those other women that I've actually denounced. They've just taken turns. Anyway, just to carry on, then I went over the statement of defense and versus the defendants. I just did everything. You guys can read it yourself. I'm going to finish this video soon and then get on to the next one. Okay, I will show my interlocutory application summary judgment to enter, so you can see that I actually won. Okay, I know criminal lawyers, the judges will read my work and they'll know that I actually won just by reading. So I went through the process. I did my own research, because the other issue I had was that the court deputy registrars refuse, okay, listen to what I'm saying, they refuse to sign my interlocutory application, and they'll only sign the affidavit only. I hate to say this, but this is the reality. They are setting me up to fail, and if I die, anyone can pick up my documents and steal what is worth of my documents legally, the tax money. I feel that's why they're doing what they're doing, and that is why I'm doing what I'm doing, okay? Because that is fraud. That is white-collar crimes or whatever, blue-collar crimes, whatever, but that is money laundering. That is thief, okay? Okay, they're setting people up and stealing. And then everyone's ganging up on me. I'm just one woman. And, I've worked hard all my life, okay? And I was not born a slave. So you guys can read it yourself. To me, I thought, far out, that's fraud. They're secretly breaking the law, secretly setting me up to fail. They did this to me while I was working for the ministry. What I'm going through now is no different to what I did back in the early days at work. They worked together to set me up to fail, okay? They were on their way to demote me, okay? But I've proved them wrong, okay? We're talking about pride here, and I am not a prideful person in the wrong sense. God has humbled me in so many ways you have no idea. But what I'm dealing with is rich man's pride, okay? Shame on you. Shame. Shame on you and what you represent to your people and the people that look up to you. Okay, so this is here. I went through the interlocutory application. I wanted the judge to know that the courts refused to sign it. Then I did my research, and according to the laws, they are supposed to sign it. All right? They really are. There's reasons why. Okay, I'm talking about my property here. Those legal documents I write, they belong to Mina Crichton. They do not belong to anyone else. They do not belong to the government. It's not government property. I'm not government property. I know I'm intelligent. I know I've got gifts and stuff like that and unique in so many ways. But I'm nobody's property unless I give you consent. Okay? But I'm going to go through this system because this is fraud. Okay? This is absolute fraud. So and only that, it's the extremist Māoris and the white supremacists. Okay, I don't care. I'm gonna announce what I see in my space, working together. Okay, they're joining forces to work together. And that's what I have found. It's not only just the extremist Māoris, Aotearoa, it's been other cultures, okay? And some of these cultures' belief are quite barbaric. They're not my belief, but that's not the point, what I'm trying to say. What I'm saying is I'm exposing the system and what's going on with me. They put their families, their friends in my space, and they all work together. Mina is, impaired, but no, I'm not. Okay, as you can see, they are working together to steal. Put it in plain English, they are committing serious fraud crimes. They wouldn't sign my interlocutory application, but if I died, anyone can just pick up my cases and steal. I've had my identity stolen in 2010. That's evidence in the police report in 2010, okay, and I have not been able to regain anything, my independence or anything since what they've done to me, okay. So I'll just go over read the documents yourself. So I went through all that just to let the court and the judge know what the registrars were doing. Okay, from my point of view as the plaintiff and also what I do know, keeping in mind, guys, I do have experience working in the civil jurisdictions and also in the summary jurisdiction, okay, in the criminal, and also in indictable offences, jury trials, depositions. Okay, so what the courts did to me and what right now, you can just tell from what I'm telling you, what they did to me, they set me up. What I'm saying is this is exactly what they did, going back to Unison Dance Crew, where they all operated secretly and made my life a living hell while they steal. Okay, same thing to do with Henry Cavill and Natalie Vasquiso. I've been denouncing her video clips on behalf of both of us. okay? He knows I'm doing this because I have to. What I'm trying to say is, here's this man. He was in hospital. He's had 3 operations, fighting for his life, almost died because somebody tried to kill him. And here's Natalie, you know, playing the fool, fooling the fool globally. Everyone thinks she's with the real Natalie, she's with the real Henry Cavill, but this is the Hollywood impostering system. They're not even together. They weren't, you know, they're not romantically together. They're not even in anything legally. All is money, for money, show, and reputation. Okay? So I have a reasonable belief that Henry came my way. Okay, there's a massive testimony about me and her, how we met. And I felt God allowed him to come my way so I can see what I went through when it was Unison Dance Crew. While I was being pinned down, going to church, going to work, people were stealing money from funding, using my identity and living the good life, sharing the money to each other. And I have a reason to believe that that's their intent with my court case again. Okay? So this here, I went through I felt that was relevant to explain that to the judge, right? Because like they were saying to me that you have to have leave to enter a summary judgment. I know from experience you don't. Why? Because it's a miscarriage of justice case, and 2, they've committed perjury. All right, my case involves lots of people internally committing perjury. That's why. Okay, so I'll just let you guys read what you guys read, and then you can see quite clearly I do know my stuff. All right. Okay, guys, I'll leave it at that right now, and I'll continue with my next application on the next video clip.